going on, guys? Matt Downs here with Trick 10s, and on today's episode I'm going to give you a full walkthrough of my latest build. This one is really cool because growing up in the 90s, you know, I was big into the superheroes, the Marvel. We had all the comic books, the collector cars, all that stuff. So this one really kind of hit home, and it's one of my favorite Marvel characters. So I'm just going to jump right into it. It's Frank Castle, the Punisher. We'll start up here. I'll give you a little walkthrough real quick and rundown. This build, it has a LED light on the front. It's very simple. It's pretty bright. I was impressed with it. This is a different graph bridge here. I'm playing around with some different ideas and just trying to come up with something. So anybody has any ideas or anything to share, please leave a comment. It'd be helpful. So this one just has a cup holder, pliers, and it's got a hummingbird graph up here. It's got a standard Minn Kota Edge trolling motor, 70-pound thrust, 24 volt, which is actually pretty cool, and it's kind of slept on for a lot of the trolling motors. It's a little cheaper. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles as some of the newer fancy ones, but it's also the lightest 24 volt trolling motor that you can buy. All right, so as you can see, this boat has a very big front deck on it. Lots of room, lots of storage. I actually built this deck in the springtime, and I just had a chance to finish it up. But this deck was kind of cool because it's a deck kit that I'm trying to work on, and it was actually a frame where all these hatches are interchangeable and movable, and I'll show you more about that later. But let's get into this. So what we've got here are 3 hatches in the front, very simple. Houses, you know, storage in all 3 compartments, and the center one has a key lock, which also has storage up inside of here. There was the original storage inside of the front deck. So you have a lot of room in here, 3 compartments. Then brings us into our live well. It's a 20-gallon live well, and it's got the flow right system in it. It's got blue LEDs, plenty big enough, plenty deep enough to keep your fish alive, completely insulated. And that brings us into our last hatch on the front deck, which is our electrical panel, which holds, you know, the fuse block and all the switches just the way they normally do. The pan's removable. It's like all my builds. So it's pretty simple, yet it is pretty extravagant the way the build is set up. It's got lots of storage and lots of hatches and stuff going on, and it looks really plain when you close it with this turf in here. This turf is actually a Gator Camo Hydro Turf. It's one of my favorites, and I thought that, you know, with the Punisher build, it's perfect because it's got the olive green and the black camo. It's right up the Punisher's alley. It's really cool with this build because, like I said, I did a lot of it in the spring. So when I got it back from the guy, I already had the front deck, this rear bench, and the floor turfed. He didn't have any side panels or compartments. I wanted to throw those in there because I think it really finishes the build off and gives you a place to lay your rods up here. So this one is completely removable. The face panel is removable, and the whole thing is removable. It's got screws inside of it, and you can take it out if you needed to. It's pretty neat because it houses a cup holder, which is awesome. You gotta have a cup holder when you're out there. It's got a spot for your fish finder, and then I threw a little hatch up in the front here. It actually has a 4-gang green LED panel switch in here, and I had to add in here because there wasn't enough room in the existing switch panel box. In this box, it houses the switches that control the headlights and the under the rail lights. The interior lights are amber, the exterior lights are blue. Okay guys, so I know I always talk about how my pans are removable, but you never really see them, so I'm gonna give you a quick glimpse of how this works. This one has 2 screws in it. I left them out just for this reveal video so I could show you how easy it is to pull this out. You need to get to your wires or change anything or add anything, just pull it out. And we'll put it back in with a couple screws right here, good to go. That brings us into the back deck, which this was the original bench seat that was in here. Obviously we cut some holes and dropped some hatches in here. Works out really nice, very similar to a lot of the builds. It houses the batteries, the battery charger, and some tackle storage. I put a diamond plate floor in the bottom of these just to keep the floor up off the bottom of the boat and keep your gear nice and dry. So the back of this boat We decided not to enclose this. We wanted to leave it open. It came stock with these little side panels, which were about 1.5 inches lower than the bench. So it just made sense to leave it open. So that brings us into our last hatch, which is by far the coolest hatch that I've ever seen in a John boat, maybe a boat period. It started out as a storage compartment, and then the further along I got into it, I figured, you know, it's gonna be a gun locker, and it's a perfect gun locker. And it actually has some cool toys in there right now that I'm about to pull out and show you guys. We got a pump action Mossberg 500. And we got an AR-15 from Rock River Arms. The holographic scope, extendable stock. It's my baby right here. She even comes with a bayonet. I figured if it's the Punisher, might as well go all out. The boat itself is a 2019 1648 Low Aurora, which comes in at only 275 pounds, tying with the Crestliner 1600 as the lightest 16-foot John boat on the market. It was hitting speeds of about 22 miles per hour with this 9.9 20 horsepower ECU upgraded Suzuki outboard. The prop on it was not pitched correctly for this boat. It could probably hit 26, maybe 27 with a different prop.